As a smart kid, I knew not to defy my mom. Just the way you wouldn't attack a grizzly bear or cross a mafia boss, right? And I'm not saying she wasn't loving. She was, and she is. But she has an edge, you know what I mean? And she never misses a thing.
What self-respecting mother would? My mom wouldn't. I was raised by a really tough, I hate to say this, but she was a no-nonsense, only woman on the police force in LA, cop who could outshoot any man. She was tough. She taught me that moms have eyes in the backs of their heads. And I passed that on to Stephanie. I told her I can see everything, even when I'm not around, like God. You better believe that kid did whatever I told her. Her little brother, not so much.
Well, as the youngest, it was my job to use my good looks and my charm to constantly push the boundaries and see what I could get away with. I mean, it's not like my straight A getting older sister was going to do anything about it.
That's easy for you to say. You could get away with stuff. I was always getting busted, right? If my mom came and asked me if I'd done something wrong, and I tried to just admit it, she'd be like, aha, I had no proof, but I suspected it was you. But then if I went the other way and denied it, she'd inevitably be like, oh, really? Well, I have photographic evidence that you did it. Now you've added lying to your original crime. I was always blowing the 50-50.
Yeah.
Until my savvy little brother threw me a bone.
I couldn't take it. After watching her blow it over and over again, I finally pulled her aside and I said, sis, listen, next time she gets you in the corner, she pushes up on you, she wants to know what you've done wrong, just don't say a word. Just keep your mouth shut. And eventually she'll get frustrated and she'll give it up. She'll tell you what she knows and what she doesn't know. Mm-hmm. And that way you'll know exactly how to play it.
Pay attention, kids in the audience. That really worked too. But for the most part, I just played by the rules still because it was easier until I fell in love. And I fell hard. His name was Vincent Leon and he was human sunshine. And I just wanted to be in his orbit as much as possible. And that is when my mom dropped the midnight curfew bomb. And see, I've been babysitting until 1 a.m. for years. So why the hour earlier? I asked my mom, don't you trust me? Don't you?
Absolutely. I just don't trust the two of you together.
My 16-year-old soul was raging with indignity. So I played it cool like my brother, though. I acted like the midnight curfew didn't bother me one bit. I'd get home plenty early and pretend to go to sleep. Then, when my parents actually were asleep, I'd sneak out the back door at 2 a.m. to go meet my love.
I mean, love had clearly just messed up my older sister's brain. As she would have come to me for help or advice, I would have clearly told her, don't do it every single night. You're just pushing your luck. You are bound to get busted. I mean, when are you even getting any sleep anyway?
I didn't need sleep or barely even food. I was living off love.
Gag me with a spoon, as you kids used to say. I'm so glad I didn't know that then.
Then we would meet at my old elementary school. We'd spread out a blanket underneath the stars, and Vincent would bring a boombox loaded with fresh batteries so we could listen to our favorite mixtapes. Now, this was the early 80s, folks, and Vince was a huge Air Supply fan, so yeah, we mostly were swooning to Air Supply hits like Lost in Love, All Out of Love, and Making Love Out of Nothing at All.
Oh, now you're making me sick.
No, it was glorious, though. You just had to trust me. And I would float home around 6 a.m., get as much sleep as I could until that very night when the whole process would start over again. And what made it so foolproof was my ironclad cover story note.
Ironclad cover story note?
Yes, it was ingenious in its simplicity. I had written, woke up, can't sleep, went for a walk, be back soon, don't worry. I figured it was the most logical explanation I could come up with for why I wouldn't be in bed in the middle of the night, and I left it on my bed every time I snuck out, And miraculously, this worked for almost 2 beautiful summer months until my own cat betrayed me.
Well, I was awakened in the middle of the night by a Siamese cat meowing, and if you've ever heard a Siamese cat, you will know why I woke up. He wanted to be inside, and I thought as long as I'm up, I might as well check on the kids. But then came the shock of my life. Well, Mac was asleep, but Stephanie, where an empty bed was where Stephanie should be. I turned on the light and found this note with some BS about going for a walk. How could a kid so bright do something so stupid? Doesn't she know how dangerous it is to go out alone at night?
In my defense, I wasn't all that bright in this point in my life.
That's true. But we did live in this neighborhood that gave off that nothing bad could ever happen here kind of vibe.
Well, I decided I'd go outside to find her. She couldn't have gone far, right? I grabbed my biggest flashlight and started walking our neighborhood, calling out her name as I walked. But nothing.
I was almost a mile away at Steadwick Elementary, cocooned in air supply and love. There was no way I was hearing her.
I too was oblivious, but for more innocent reasons.
I started to panic. Why couldn't I find her? She just went for a walk. Why hadn't she come back yet? A full hour had passed, and it was now almost 4 a.m. What could have happened to her? Has she been abducted, hit by a car, attacked by wolves? Are there wolves in Montgomery Village?
No wolves in Montgomery Village. I'm pretty sure there are coyotes, though, but I'm also pretty sure coyotes won't attack people. I mean, I think you're more likely to get killed by a champagne cork than a coyote.
What if she's been bitten by a copperhead snake and is lying there dying from venom?
Well, we did have copperheads. That's true, but I doubt they would have attacked her. You know, if I could have only told you that, just to put your mind at rest and give you some ease. But I was, like my father, completely out cold and asleep.
Useless. I just can't sit here. I have to do something. I call our local hospital to ask if a girl matching my daughter's description has been checked in with tread marks or snake bites. I'm told no, rather impatiently. Why didn't I have more than one daughter so I could have a backup?
A backup son would have been good, too. That sounds smart.
I can't believe this. It's been hours. I've practically worn grooves in the carpet from all my pacing. I'm just about to call the police to report my daughter missing when I hear the sweet sound of the basement door opening and footsteps on the stairs. I rush over to the door, and there she is, my one and only daughter, looking surprised, but injury-free.
Holy crap! I can see from her face that my cover note is blown, and I know I'm about to get in the biggest trouble of my life.
I pull her into a tight embrace. I'm so relieved to see her alive and well.
Maybe this won't be so bad. But then the yelling starts.
Are you freaking kidding me? Do you have any idea how worried I've been? What were you doing? Don't give me this walk nonsense. You've been gone for hours. Who were you with?
Now, I'd like to tell you that I stood up to her interrogation methods and I gave up nothing. But that would be a lie. I caved hard and fast. I told her I was with Vincent. I hoped that by being honest, it would calm her down. Nope. I've never seen her so furious before or since.
How dare you sneak out of the house to spend the night with your boyfriend? This is not normal behavior, Stephanie. Mentally sound people do not behave like this. In fact, it may be psychotic. Instead of going to Spain next year to study abroad, I think you'll have to stay here so I can put you in an institution where they'll study your brain to figure out exactly what's gone wrong.
An institution? Sheesh, that seems like overkill. But I don't say a word. I play it like my brother and just let her vent and vent until finally she says,
Just go to sleep for real this time, and we'll talk again once we've both had some rest.
only I can't rest. Maybe it's divine justice. Tossing and turning. I have one flew over the cuckoo's nest kinds of nightmares. I am so terrified of actually being put in an institution that I never sneak out again. And I'm happy to report I am allowed to go abroad the following year, and she never tries to put me in an institution. She doesn't even send me to see a psychiatrist, but that
Should've.
might have helped me.
Yeah, should have.
In fact, it would have helped her. It would have helped both of us because just the next following school year, I was approached by a very attractive young woman to sneak out in the middle of the night myself. So it would have really helped me if I would have known that there was a sneak out pro living in the bedroom next door to me. I might have gotten some advice. I might have gotten told that, hey, watch out for that back door, it's really squeaky.
It does.
Or maybe you should come up with an ironclad note. But I did not. Instead, I just stuffed some pillows under the covers like I've seen in some movie, put my head down and just walked out, and that back door screeched like a banshee. But I went out anyway.
Amateur.
I'm awakened by Max English Sheepdog barking like a lunatic at the back door. I can't see anything, but I decide to check on my son while I'm up. And there it is, no son, no note, just 3 pillows stashed under his covers where his body should be. But this time I knew exactly what's happening. My youngest kid is sneaking out. This time I don't lose my cool. I don't even lose any sleep. I just pull out the pillows and take their place in his bed and then fall asleep. But it's not long before I'm awakened because the squeak of the back door occurs. And he creeps into his bedroom slow. And his little arm comes around the corner to turn the light on. And the light turns on and he opens the door. And by then I'm sitting up in his bed. That's when he sees me and the blood drains from his face. It's very satisfying.
Hey, what in the what is going on? This is my first time trying to sneak out. I wasn't even gone for an hour. I mean, turns out the girl that asked me to sneak out, that was her first time sneaking out too. And when we finally met at the rendezvous point, she was so freaked out and nervous, she couldn't stay either. So we both just split and went home. I get home to find her waiting in bed for me. And my universe is just flipped upside down.
Well, maybe sneaking out is a normal thing for teens to do. The obvious pain and dismay on his face is almost punishment enough. But I decide to ground him for 2 weeks anyway for good measure.
Just 2 weeks? Oh, to be the youngest. I got grounded for 3 weeks once just for looking at her sideways. But Mag is such a badass that he even snuck out during his 2 weeks of being grounded.
Let's just say I needed a do-over.
I may have gotten a few things wrong as a mom over the years, but you know, I must have gotten it mostly right to have raised these 2 amazing, non-psychotic adults next to me.
Oh, thanks, Mom.
We think you're non-psychotic too. Group hug,
Yay.
group hug.
Love you. Thank you.